They told you were too sensitive, too intense, too much. They said your dreams were unrealistic, your silence too heavy, your thoughts too strange. They looked at your struggle and whispered the one word that slices deeper than any blade broken. What they never saw, what they never even thought to see, was the truth. You were never broken. You were becoming what the world forgot how to understand. Becoming what this culture doesn't know how to nurture. You were becoming whole. And wholeness demands the death of illusions, the end of masks, the collapse of every false self you were ever forced to wear. And the world, it doesn't applaud that kind of becoming. It fears it. Because when one soul rises from the ruins, it reminds the rest they were never meant to stay buried. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But no one tells you the cost of that privilege. The nights you'll walk through your own private underworld, searching through the rubble of your own mind, trying to find what's real. The faces you'll lose, the beliefs you'll burn, the shadows you'll have to embrace with trembling hands. There is nothing wrong with you for not fitting into a system designed to keep people numb, obedient, and easy to explain. You were not built for cages. You were not born for quiet desperation. You are not here to be digestible. You are here to wake up. And waking up is not soft, a curated morning routine or a perfect journal page. Waking up is violent. It shatters. It strips. It demands. It forces you to face the grief of who you pretended to be. And still, you rise. Because somewhere deep inside you, older than fear, older than shame, loud, not obvious, but eternal, it whispers there is more. There is purpose in the pain. There is power in the parts of you they told you to hide. And your story, it is not over. It is unfolding. That ache you feel in your chest, something is trying to break out. That's not damage. That's destiny. And yet the world will give you 100 labels for your wounds. It will call your inner fire dysfunction. It will diagnose your grief and medicate your soul's rebellion. It will call your longing for truth a crisis. Because to admit that your suffering might be sacred, that your dissent might have meaning, that threatens everything. Jung understood what most have forgotten: every wound is a womb. Every collapse is initiation. Every descent is a map. The dragon you fear guards the treasure you need. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be revealed. Because buried beneath the persona, the image you were trained to project is your essence. And it has been waiting. Patient, fierce, unshakable. Everyone will meet themselves in this lifetime. But you were called to it. You were cracked open so the light could get in, so your real work could begin. And that work begins in the dark. This is where you learn the truth. Healing is not becoming perfect. Healing is becoming real. And real is messy. Real is raw. Real is holy ground. It's the night you fall to your knees and stop pretending. It's the morning you look in the mirror and see your own eyes, not the performance you've been trained to maintain. It's the quiet knowing, I was never broken. I was becoming. Look around. This world worships the image, the filtered version, the curated mask, smile that hides the storm. But the image is not life. The image does not bleed. The image does not change. You were born to evolve. And evolution does not happen in comfort. It happens in collapse. Just ask Lincoln, the man who fought depression like it was a dragon in his soul, who wrote, "I am now the most miserable man living," before he became the face of unbreakable resolve. Ask Edison, who failed 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb, because he believed each failure was not the end, but an instruction. Ask Helen Keller, who touched the world not because she was unbroken, but because she refused to believe her limits were final. They weren't perfect, they were initiated. Through darkness, through pain, through the agony of transformation. And so are you. Your wounds are not a sign of weakness, they are the birthplace of wisdom. They are portals to your unconscious. gateways to power the ego could never understand. Because the ego wants control, it wants certainty, it wants approval. But the soul wants truth. And truth comes at a cost. You will have to let go of who you thought you needed to be. You will have to release the life you built for validation and build one rooted in authenticity. You will have to walk through loneliness, rejection, failure, shame, not because you are broken, but because you are birthing something whole. And wholeness is fierce. It does not fit into systems of control. It cannot be marketed or tamed. It does not say yes to everything just to be liked. It says yes to the self, to the calling, to the whisper that never stopped speaking. You know the one. You've felt it. When the night was quiet and you finally stopped running. When the applause faded and still, you felt empty. When you succeeded, but something inside you still felt unseen. That was the call, the ancient echo, the voice of the deep. And you ignored it. Maybe it tried to be normal, tried to be good, but the voice didn't leave, because it is you, the self, not the version shaped by fear, the eternal part, the blueprint of who you really are. And every breakdown, it's trying to wake that part up, to bring you back to yourself. Not the self that others molded, the one born from masks and fear, but the self Jung spoke of, the center, the totality, the alchemical union of your light and shadow, the you that remembers, the you that knows. So no, you're not broken. You're remembering. It is holy work. So when the world tells you to numb it, bypass it, distract it, don't. Feel it. Face it. Let the fire purify, not destroy. This is what our ancestors knew, the ones who sat around fires and told stories not of comfort, but of becoming. The stories of those who faced monsters not outside, but within. They understood something we've forgotten. The monsters in the psyche are not there to consume us. They are there to transform us. The shadow is not your enemy. It is your teacher, Jung said. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. And that means going where most won't. Presence remains. It means looking your fears in the eye. It means walking through the parts of yourself you were told to be ashamed of. The rage, the grief, the insecurity, the envy, and saying, I will no longer exile you. I will know you. I will integrate you. Because everything you refuse to face gains power over you. But what you confront, you liberate. And in doing so, you liberate yourself. Remains. The journey is not to become someone else. The journey is to remove everything that is not you. Everything that was placed on you by wounded people in systems, fearful voices, and half-life generations. The journey is a return to origin, to soul, to power. But power in its true form doesn't shout. It doesn't posture or perform. Real power is still. Real power listens. Real power chooses. And you have the power to choose right now. You can choose to remain buried in the identity the world handed you, or you can rise as a polished product, not as a perfect performance, but as a soul in process, raw, awake, unfinished, and free. Freedom doesn't look like never falling apart. Freedom looks like knowing how to rebuild every single time. And here's what they won't tell you, mains. The broken places become your genius. The parts you once hid become the core of your power. Presence remains. The healing you do in silence becomes the light others will one day follow. Because someone out there needs the version of you that rose, the perfect you. Not the polished you, the real you. The you that walked through fire and came back with truth. The you that bled wisdom. The you that said yes to becoming. And that becoming is not linear. It is not clean. It is not fast. It spirals. It repeats, pulls you forward and drags you back. But every spiral brings you deeper, deeper into purpose, deeper into clarity, deeper into the truth. Presence remains. You are not a problem to be solved. You are a soul to be seen. And when you finally see yourself, not through the eyes of your critics, your past, presence remains, or your culture, but through the eyes of truth, You realize something stunning: you were powerful all along. But power without purpose is noise, and your soul craves direction. So ask yourself, what am I becoming? Not who the world told me to be, not who fear shaped me into, who my soul longs to express. What is the work I was born to do? What is the truth I was made to carry? What is the voice that I am ready to unleash? Because now is the time, not when you're ready. Now, your becoming begins in motion, in choice, in breath, and the first choice, to stop apologizing for existing. You are not here to shrink. You are not here to make others comfortable with their own avoidance. You are here to embody truth, to awaken, to activate, to become. And becoming will cost you. It will cost you the life you built out of fear. Fence remains. It will cost you the roles you played to survive. It will cost you the masks you wore to be accepted. It will cost you comfort, predictability, the illusion of safety. But what you gain is everything: conviction, integrity, voice. This is the war Jung described. The war within, the war between your false self and your authentic one, between the persona and the self, between conformity and creation. And to win that war, you must step out of the fog of distraction and into the fire of purpose. The modern world will tell you to seek pleasure, to avoid pain, to chase comfort like it's the prize. But pleasure fades, comfort decays. The only thing that lasts is meaning remains. And meaning is not found, it is forged. In the decision to keep showing up, in the act of choosing courage over convenience remains, in the discipline to build when no one is watching, in the grace to rest, not because you're weak, but because you're wise. And above all, in the sacred act of remembering who you are, again and again, until that truth lives in your bones. That is becoming, and it never ends, because every level of awakening opens new doors. Every threshold crossed reveals deeper shadows, and brighter light remains. And every time you think you've arrived, life will call you into a new evolution. But you're ready. Not because you have no fear, because you finally understand fear is not the enemy. Fear is the frontier, and what lies beyond it is freedom.